after a lengthy and intensive review, the Trump administration has decided to move forward with assistance in a very different way than what we've seen in recent times in previous administrations. So we will be bringing under the State Department umbrella all of assistance, both humanitarian and non-humanitarian, health, etc., under this umbrella, streamlining what we do and focusing on core life-saving initiatives and initiatives that boost U.S. interests as well as the interests of our friends around the world. So what does that mean in the Ethiopian context? After this review, we've decided that the vast majority of the humanitarian assistance that was previously programmed will continue. So specifically, 89% of humanitarian assistance that was programmed previously has been restored for continued programming going forward, so that our government, in cooperation with key stakeholders and partners here on the ground, are able to respond to and support those who are internally displaced and those who are vulnerable. So this is something that we consider to be very important. On the health side, substantial amounts of resources are available as well to continue the struggle against HIV, to work with the government, both at the federal and sub-federal level, to address emerging health concerns, to continue working with EPHI on to enable Ethiopia's readiness and to promote Ethiopia's leadership in the region in this context. So, and then agriculture. We have some funds that enable us to continue working with the government of Ethiopia and other stakeholders to promote productivity, to promote the ability of small farmers to expand their production and to avoid post-harvest loss, all those issues. So at the end of the day, about 77% of the previously allocated funding for development and humanitarian assistance in Ethiopia are available to us now. And so we're undertaking a review and some changes in terms of personnel and how we administer that. And that's going to be a substantial change. But I'm very confident that come July 1, when the deadline arrives for us to bring all of these programs under the State Department umbrella, we'll be able to do so. That means we are focusing on those projects. There have been some terminations and some changes in some of the other programs that we had previously, because we do need to focus on core life-saving questions, core life-saving programs, and those programs that promote prosperity for both the American people as well as the people here in Ethiopia. But it's not just about the government. As the Secretary of State has said, and our senior bureau official in the Africa Bureau has said just recently, we are going to be very fundamentally making a shift away from programming towards the focus on the private sector as the engine of growth, just like it is in our country. Our country has the prosperity it does, not because of government programming. The government has a certain role in creating an enabling environment, but it's the private sector that is and will continue to be the engine of growth both in my country and around the world. And we know that the vision here in Ethiopia is the same. So we look forward to working intensively with the private sector here in Ethiopia, more so than we are now. I mentioned the WTO issue earlier. I mentioned the IMF World Bank program earlier. But just to offer a few very specific, concrete concepts that everybody recognizes. Ethiopian Airlines is a massive partner with its counterparts in the United States. Just to name a few companies, Boeing, General Electric, et cetera, et cetera. That partnership is longstanding and is growing. In recent years, the Ethiopian Airlines management has made the decision to expand its engagement with U.S. suppliers. And that relationship is very busy in producing the equipment necessary for Ethiopian Airlines expansion. But Ethiopian Airlines expansion means many things. It's not just the fleet. It's not just the maintenance. which General Electric is very pleased to bring to Ethiopia. But it means that there needs to be an entirely new platform. So we know that the government here is intent on building a new airport in Bishoftu. The United States is very keen to offer assistance to enable the private sector in the United States to participate in this project. And so we have a team on the ground that is working on that issue right now. So we are interested in and engaged with the Ethiopian growth story from the macro level all the way down to the business to business level. Thank you for that question. And during my tenure, as you know, I have had conversations with journalists, journalist organizations, the government itself, in terms of the media part. I had a recent conversation with the new chair of the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission. So the commitment of our government to human rights, to media freedom, civil space, continues to be, and will continue to be strong. How we do that will always change and fluctuate. But the values that our country has and the values that we know that Ethiopia has and aspires to are consistent and similar. But let's just be clear that looking at our own history in the United States, it's very difficult to move forward in those contexts, in the context of conflict. The United States Constitution and the age of our country is 250 plus years old. And we've gone through many, many different challenges over that time period, particularly in times of conflict. During our Civil War, right during and after the First World War, during the Second World War, all the way into the present day. The challenge to the government in maintaining stability, law and order, while also guaranteeing constitutional rights is not easy. It's not easy at all. President Lincoln during the Civil War, or even currently, presidents have faced various challenges in that respect. And this is what I would offer to my Ethiopian friends. We understand that as long as the conflicts we discussed earlier continue, the challenge in protecting and promoting civil rights, human rights, civil space, media freedom, it's difficult. It's incredibly difficult when there are armed groups that have the intentions that they have offered, active, while also maintaining and protecting constitutional rights. It's difficult, just like we've seen in our own government. The only suggestion I would offer is that even in the most difficult of times in our own history in the United States, the lodestar, the intention has been to return to and restore as much freedom to the people as possible, as quickly as possible, and to maintain freedoms even in the midst of difficulties. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. We've had some missteps. I pointed to the Second World War, when the United States government interred Japanese American citizens, and the Supreme Court at the time said that was okay. Later, the Supreme Court said that was not constitutional, and that was a mistake. So it's not easy. We recognize that. But really, from my standpoint, the fastest, most effective way to restore the constitutional order for all and to address the various issues that you mentioned would be for the conflicts to come to an end. And I think everybody understands that. As I mentioned in my statement that I just referenced earlier, certainly there are individuals or groups who masquerade as what they would consider to be freedom fighters, who in reality are working for themselves through criminality. And this is a real tragedy. For these people to prey upon some of the most vulnerable people in Ethiopia, kidnapping, engaging in criminality of various types in the name of something else, this is a serious issue. But that's its own question. To respond to your question, um, this is something for, I would direct that question to the government itself. This is for the Ethiopian people to evaluate, not for me. Well, let me take the opportunity to talk about IDPs and some of the internally displaced people I saw very recently in my trip to Shirang. It's time for those people to be able to go home. I think we saw yesterday some political demonstrations in Mekelle in which some individuals were expressing their points of view, talking about their great desire to go home. This is not a surprise, given how long they have been in the conditions that they've been. And speaking as the representative of the United States, where we are the largest humanitarian providers, this is just not sustainable. It's not sustainable for them. It's not sustainable for my government. And it's not sustainable from my standpoint for Ethiopia. It's time for them to be able to go home. And it's not just the people in Tigray. It's those who are in similar situations all around the country. Again, we are proud to do what we can, but the situation on the ground needs to be conducive to allow people to pursue their own prosperity and not depend on assistance from countries such as my own. But to your point about whether or not July 1st is going to mean an elimination of assistance, that's not the plan. Of course, new funding as we move into our new fiscal year will be dependent on availability, and that is a decision that is defined by our Constitution. Our Congress and our executive branch have to come to agreement on what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. I do not anticipate a elimination, as you mentioned, of the humanitarian assistance, but it is time. It is time to move forward in a different way and to do so urgently. Let me start off by saying I do not believe that Ethiopia and Eritrea are moving towards a conflict. And of course, we engage diplomatically with all countries all around the world, certainly here in the Horn of Africa, and the two countries on issues of concern. And so we will continue to work in that context.